This is called Induction. Stitches and liquid morphine cannot keep it closed. Lunar halo runs circles more hollow than forgot. Steel birds fly from clocks, spiking the same hour in rounds. A freak disease tears across the vista. You've been told this is the near of medicine. Lunar halo must bother you tonight with some life. War shine and flare lit on the lips. The situation of radar gone deaf. A ring of unknown men waiting to think of it, to think of it, to think of it.
Embracing you to the
Sugar awake in the animal disaster. Vaccinations break and they bother you. The situation of waves with catheters and blather mouths. Time for you to ride, even when it acts hypnotic or botched. Tornado hanged an example, eyes sticking to its guns. It must bother you tonight with oblong torment, between your deserts and escaped stars. Messes of radial spoils steal on you, recognize your continuous tattoo. Lunar halo casts your face in harassments. It dissolves former weather in your ear, takes up with your hexes. Ice becomes gas, blasting into a foam hole, out of which zodiac carcasses crawl. Under lunar halo, anyone who waits for sleep waits.
Under lunar halo, anyone who waits for sleep waits to be seen to.
And this next one is called Soggy Muff, which is actually a kind of liberation of soggy muff from a Dr. Seuss 3-page short story called Too Many Days. I know there are at least a couple of you with children out here, so you probably recognize this. Did I ever tell you about Mrs. McCabe? She had 23 sons and she named them all Dave. Well, she did, and that wasn't a smart thing to do, because when she calls one, yoo-hoo, Dave, come in the house, not one, but all 23 Daves of hers come on the run. And the rest of the story is the list of names she should have named her Daves, one of which is Soggy Muff. So this is dedicated to the subtext for children's books everywhere. I'll not wake, I'll not be wailed, I'll sleep suddenly in your tower, I'll sleep south through your France in a second skin, I'll be my own superior comforter, crunk done and crusty. I'll not wake purring, ruby-throated, not with a tornado in my lap, not at the docks, nor in the spas. I'll never wake feeling along night bloomers, will not stop spindling for cocked wet lamps. I'll not in your blazing blazon. I'll never wake slaked in unruly rooms, not frisked in your miniatures, not flayed on immaculate angle. I'll not wake bipedal in a rabbit suit, not in a lab coat or on a black pony. I'll not hear my name and be brought to. This is Self-Stalked. I looked in all 8 directions, then spread out my tiger skin. Before the public mind kicked in, I surveyed an inner shore. Its facets operated on me. I lost my lights and began my midnight thus. Mental feet, mental lake, little mental pines, mental mile around the muzzle. I aimed my automatic at that outlandish organ hanging like a sky in the day's stone. Its sea expression wet the evening. I captained the tempest there, looking too long into the distant human pupil. I sharpened my harpoon, but my hands could not be organized. I wanted to tightrope up there on a mental binge. I reached for my quiver. My bird descended, a failure, one depth below time. The moment rotated, aggravated. Its color was extreme. In a heavy steel helmet, I matched that orb and tried to tackle it with a million mental muscles. The more I beat it, the more I couldn't see it. If I could turn it open like a glass knob, feel my way into its diamond cave, if I could tongue out its creamy mouth, if I could tickle it and bounce it on my knee, if I could dress it up, if it would fist me, if I could force it, the more I battered that moon, the more I could be it. And this next piece that I'll just play a little bit of is
if I want to speak.
A friend of mine sort of made this deranged melody of various poems and poem parts from Shot, which is the book I'm reading from tonight. There's this funny fly that's haunting me.
To the left. Listen.
It's just, I'll just turn up a tiny little bit. I think what it captures is this kind of insomnia-fueled soliloquizing that happens in the book. But you also find out a lot about how people read your work when they do something like this. It's crazy. But thank you so much to Sarah and all of the good people at CCMA. This is an incredible, collaborative, and exciting, hopeful venture, and I really feel proud, excited to be part of it tonight.
Speak, flags galore. Electromagnetic currents around the armpit, recollecting the smoke of corpses, baked competitive weather patterns, an ass hatch that's lost a screw. An ass hatch that's lost a screw. An ass hatch.
That's always a good place to stop, at the ass hatch. Okay, this is Noctilucent Elegy. This is kind of a surprise for Ryan Vanderbilt. Walking yields the dangers of waiting. When you taste nowhere, you can't return. You pass radio music muffled in a parked car. Wind does not stop burning down your night. It's a red noise like memory of wings circling the cliff. You pass a bandaged man with a sticky beard. This is not the face. You pass a couple burying themselves in sand. Your name called out won't make you look. Winds don't have names like oceans do. Slurring and drinking you double-ended, drinking you over-present until your skin is itself a moon, set against the black lapping, as magnetized as mute, your heart tick microphones in every faceless thing. The wind moves around, wind in the half face of some future face. Grotto boned, boulder sob. If you hear night and it tells you it isn't falling, then will you believe? That was, I just kind of stole an interlude from Ryan's ex-band, the Akron Family, and overlaid another track on top of it. Is that okay? So the next piece we're doing together with Ryan's incredible talent, and I think he really got, he certainly changed my relationship to the poem that I'm about to read. And it made me actually remember the origins of the poem, which is not something I generally like to talk about, but the poem is really loosely based on a recurrent dream that I had, that I remembered for the very first time. I've been having this dream my whole life, but I remembered the very first time my first book sort of had its public outing. And so, shall we go? It's called Recurrent Curse. Not in the grove or in the pond, not atop Iris Hill. Sticks and steps along the wet street. You follow the setter. Keep highway light to your right. Find the gravel drive. A voice in blinkless blocks. Aging in the mailbox. recognizes you. Pick the yellows. Store your teeth in the brickwork. Find a battery in the yard. Piss in the hedges. Near where the furniture is buried, damned rash on a front porch. Electrical drone. Pretend it was never yours. Put your face in the window and let it dirty. See that you are not required. Riddled with niches. Trawl all the attics. Oil and acid stained. Even if the setter reverses his course. A ghost is something to pursue. Go through the door, one of 19 doors. Panic Argyle. Its faint warble. Crave a cigarette. No one will say you can't sleep here. Squirrel nest in the ceiling fanned. Closet's dead cord. 15 windows. Each son you strangled. Tick, tick, brutish tick. On the mantel, a defaced clock. Cobwebs rotting corners. What won't get said won't change what you are. Mangled spiral staircase. Up there and not permitted to leave. Up there and not. Thanks, Ryan. This is last one is a pun on my last name called I Exhume Myself. When we sleep in the barn under 30 heavy blankets, I am never coming back. I sleep naked with a knife in the down. A knife is too short to stab any vital thing. The night we met, my eyes no longer cut me in two. I grew knives and slept on them, expanding. I grow weak eyes where the knives had been. From the ceiling I stared at, vertigo slipped down, hid, ripped into mind. Waiting for morning is not the same as sleeping. A dream is a naked idea snapped awake. The backward splashes of your feet running through rain, singing, bye bye baby gauntling, daddy's gone drinking. You are not there where I have looked. When I raise the manhole lid, I am dead on my feet. None of the babies come out alive. When you come home with a live bat in your hands, I look for a window but go under the sheets. I could never sleep at the back of my mind. Dreaming is a blindness that looks back. Walking out from a dream in the wrong direction, under an electric blanket on high in August. Crawl into a bad dream backward over dirt to find your way home. The whole family jerks awake, realizing we are coverless. Love rips into mine, hides in its own smoke. Wait in the dark for your mother to return. Walk into a dream where wires cry you out, when each night waking leaks a new ghost. When I woke in the unadulterated dark of our car, I woke bombing inside the race dream, awakened but not yet there. When night pushes me down its huge eyeball, everything apt inches toward failure. My eyes go backward to replace the future. Your mother insists we take her high, stiff bed. The ceiling cracks habit of looking like a rabbit. Walk with me out of the evisceration dream, false moons swerving. Can you turn them out? Light twisted tight like a sheet. When fog invades my leaving you dream, I stick my finger down night's throat. We paint the bedroom bird of paradise. In the hotel bed's bleach stench, staring at the ceiling, you see the same things no matter what is in front of you. 3-chambered, synaptic, headless moons. You don't know the half of it. You are outside hanging all the moon's faces, kicked out, tensile, tricked, eclipsed.
When we sleep in the barn under 30 heavy blankets, I am never coming back. When I raise the manhole lid, I am dead on my feet. When you come home with a live bat in your hands. When each night waking leaked a new ghost. When I woke in the unadulterated pitch of our car. When night pushes me down its huge eyeball. When fog invades my leaving you for good dreams. When you wake, I am asleep and digging at my own throat.
In the day you say one thing, in the night you own another. You say, look out the window. And years later we go back, stand there, look at what you have given up to be with me. I wake with red scratches on my neck. I tell you I'm in love. You tell me you know, but what you know is something else. Marks like tracks down my neck. I don't root down into your dream. I will not dig a fetus out of my throat. My hands will never find it. Digging a pit like it was something else and singing, both of us stare at the same ceiling. You explain this to me. I almost disappear when I'm in the pit. Morning comes in the middle of night. We dig at something lodged there. I wake up missing want. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. That was excellent. I'm going to introduce Julie Carr, our next reader. Julie is the author of 4 books of poetry, and most recently she has 2 books that just came out pretty much at the same time, both winning really great awards in this country. 100 Notes on Violence won the Sawtooth Prize, and Sarah of Fragments and Lines won the National Poetry Series. Julie Carr also was a professional dancer for years in New York and around the country. She worked with David Dorfman, Sandra Loring, Maxine Moerman, and others. And with Sandra Loring, she initiated and ran the New York Improvisational Festival from 1999 to 1997. Julie now teaches at the University of Colorado at Boulder and is the co-publisher with Tim Roberts of Counterpath Press. I first encountered Julie Carr's work through an online journal. It was one of those things where I read it and then I instantly fell in love with her line and her voice. In 100 Notes on Violence, I was struck by the book's sort of staggering refusal to look away from suffering that's present in this realm, yet the book also manages to find illuminated threads of heartbreak and beauty. And the book is divided into 100 parts, looking at, among other things, violence. Publishers Weekly said that Carr is clearly uninterested in comforting collective anxieties. Instead, she confronts them. And they quote, "Dear opposition, dear trash strollers, dear torn to pieces, wasn't, won't be, isn't me." The 2 quotes that begin that book kind of sum it up well. This one quote, "We love you, O life, and we get on your nerves," by Apollinaire. And the next one, "And recoiling not," by Whitman. And recoiling not. Julie Carr is a brave and needed voice, and she's also extremely prolific. I want to say one thing about the other book that just came out. To quote Peter Gizzi, to read Sarah a fragment in lines is to recall once again that memory might just be the singular attribute of being human, and that there can be no poetics of daily life that does not confront loss. Such is the domain of love, such is the vocation of poetry. Please help me welcome Julie Carr.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah and Tina and the whole crew here. This is a really remarkable place to stumble into. Didn't really know much about it before arriving, and I'm kind of in awe of the beauty. It's also nice to be somewhere where there's some moisture in the air. I live in Colorado. Also, thanks to Christine for that fabulous reading performance. I'm going to read from both books, which I haven't done yet, so we'll see. I'm going to make sure I don't go on too long. Okay, I'll start with 100 Notes on Violence. 1. It won't snow again. It won't. You can take off your shirt. You can lie on the earth. I'm attracted to children, feet like little suns. My brother drew a muscle, then he drew a gun. My envy turned me wild, and my wild made me run. In my notebook there are mint leaves bent around my head, airs hung with glitter, an early, erstwhile ear when babies in their pretty rage wake crying. Days of rain, I've loved your English, so solo, so done, vaulty wet sky, an infant mouth on mine. Mint leaves in my hair here, something rotting in my eyes. In my notebook, no one's losing it. All the women with their paper scraps, their files, glosses, glasses, lashes, shawls. I make them custards, make them queens. 2. Salt's pretty on the land now, pretty on the low parts. You see it when the planes carry you into that nothing that loves you. Salt's pretty in the light now, prettier than trees. The beautiful boys and girls with their velcroed shoes. And a man takes his key from his pants, scratches his initial into plexiglass, an A like a house been condemned. He's 24 and done for. You know him from the news. He's got hay in his heart and did to them what I cannot write. Not in this, my 3, a beginning. You, sweet compass, are about violence which I can't. At the pond, the boy in camis reads an encyclopedia of weapons. Black Widow, custom AK-47, Johnson semi-auto Colt 1937 Supermatch. His sister grins through water in her swimming class. I've been thinking about what I can't look at. School shootings, can't Google it, can't write it into the little space to see what comes up. I'd rather see that prostitute's ass as she bends over for the suicidal actor on TV. There's a mandala, a chess set, a Viking helmet, a parasol, a dog, sugar daddy, to stuff into the space from where the voice would emerge that says, nothing in this world is going to adhere to me. Not one thing will make one bit of difference. I am a free and unencumbered hand. This is number 8. I pushed my face into the air beside the river. I broke that air with my face. My face was hard, like an erection, and from my face an emission of sound. It shattered that bit of cold air that was hanging there above the water like an irresponsible bird not caring for its own unity. It let me break it, let me even more ruin it. My face was not proud of this, not proud, nothing, just did it, and kept walking. That broken cold air fell behind me, soundless because dead. Fire. Earliest stars, little princes with ponies. Evening snow unworries the branches. I like women in white dresses, the just married look, breasts tight. I said, I've used up my bonus points, spent my rewards. I've maxed out my cash attack. Can't drop my kids in the rubber breakfast playground and go to the nature store. Can't click on one stop. Can't drive by. What's more abstract than snow? Especially now, it means nothing. The wind came up and drove the ghost back into the oven. Standing by the window, the whitened street below, and something lights, quiet, the sky. Fire 2. Lamp holder, I'm not dangerous. Let fire in a Wendy's, not me, that wasn't me, that was my brother, my gorgeous going nowhere friar, put his hands in the river and pulled out a passage, river water boiling. Fat and named dumber, he lumbered the grocery aisles like one whose body wore him out. Oranges, chips, bars, nuts eyed him from their posts. In this book, I also placed a kind of interspersed some of the harder narratives with something I felt were lullabies, poems I felt were lullabies, though they started to haunt me as well. So here's a lullaby. Never been to Texas, never been to Spain, never been to Holland, never been to Maine. All you babies with your orbs like planets hung in space, with your mouths around your feet, you crawl into my face. I see that there's a young person in the audience, so I'm going to edit a little. I know you might think it's okay, but not to me. 29. About human dignity and heavy clouds just above the horizon, but spitting out flames. About rubber bands and tape. About into the cold and Eddie's gun beautiful. You don't have to make something cry. In summer, you'll hear them sobbing into their cells. About classrooms acquire better locks. About snipers in black with devices for spying. Snipers in black are dangerous, about your mother's hair is tacked to the wall. This one's longer. This is the last one I'll read from this book. So at a certain point in writing this, I asked myself the question, what is violence? I was doing a lot of reading of books that were about violence, and different kinds of books, philosophy books, anthropology, fiction, history, poetry, and the definition of violence kept getting wider and wider and wider, and so I thought I would ask myself to you, what is violence? So this is the poem that came out of that. Consider this. Consider this. What is violence? The narrowest hinge between lovers and lamps, trash cans and trains, music and muscle, between pillow and plan, weed and wretched. Get this, people, there's nothing wrong with a little defense, no reason to be ashamed of sticking up for yourself. Stems of leaves slip into the gutter, in and out and in and out, and the light bulb drinks. Fire until sunrise. Short stem of morning. What wrong with him? Just walk away, but walk away quickly. Consider hot days in the project pool. Lucky because we had carpet and Coke. A woman's breasts are an upside down heart. Not at all. We were not at all safe. He wanted to liquefy the self's solidity into the body of another, because where else? Wind, consider it. It's coming from the west. It's carrying a factory smell. We did not know whether, after passing out in the alley, they recovered rum in the Coke bottles of 12-year-old boys. What is penitent? What kind, dazzling and tremendous? How quickly the sunrise would kill me if I could not now and always send sunrise out of me. This crewless ship stalled in the shoal. What a project. It's an echoey stairwell. What is well? What wet? The race riots of childhood, the projects of broken. Here's a wander sight. Dump dogs and boyfriends with bruises and boils, pimples and penises. Light bulbs drink in corners and causeways. Smoking children, dirt bike riding children, copulating children, children with their pants down, children with their feet bruised, with their hair a mess, eating children, children in school but hiding, in school but running, in school but can't reach, cars with children, and houses with children, and dumpsters. Enough. Return. Honeysuckle and candy bag, and the window drinks not impatient. The body is cut, the body is steering. Consider the man fingering his cock, slow driving alongside us. What's wrong with him? Dump dogs and boyfriends asking directions. Consider the disdain of 12-year-old girls, our huffy walk home. What is violence? Nodding out on a borrowed couch. What we didn't get then, we do get now. Memories tutor one another. We were not at all safe. Consider harm, not what animals do, the fire-ass monkeys, slow-trunked elephants, decorative zebras, meaty lizards, adjective noun, get the pain out of the hand and put it on the page. Tenderly, be not impatient, strong as your hold, O mortal flesh, strong as your hold, O love. Drink, not impatient, the body cut. What hand of the man so wild in the kitchen? Not at all, we were not at all safe. Moments of, what is a zebra? What is a meerkat? What is a baby blinking and wrapped? Not at all safe. What is my son? Thank you. Now, we'll see how this goes. Oops. All right, so this book, Sarah, of Fragments and Lines, this book comes out of a very specific experience, and I think I will just tell you that. I was 3 summers ago pregnant with my 3rd child, and at the same time my mother was entering into the final stages of Alzheimer's disease and was being moved into a nursing home. And as I'm sure some people here, you've experienced this and you know, that what that means is that she no longer has language, but also no longer knows us. And so I was losing her and gaining another, and it was just such a moment of feeling myself to be right on those edges between presence and absence, or life and not life. So almost all of these poems really come right out of that moment. The poems are in 3 forms. Well, there's 4 forms. 3 are named, and 1 is just prose. The 3 forms are fragments, lines, and abstracts. The line poems, I'll read one of those first, are really constructed in order to attempt to have each line be its own unit. Sometimes that means that the lines really don't have much to do with each other in a kind of paratactic way. And then the fragments are really fragments. And the abstracts are built around sound and sound association among words. Landlocked lines. There are people behind closed doors, people on the other side. A specter haunting, now hidden, now fled. Under the firmament, above the firmament, and so on. Plastic cup, plastic tooth, nipple, phone, call me. I was filming a movie, but my brother took my camera and broke it. Then he fell on his face and laughed into the snow. Zebra and xylophone, cyclone and sorrow. Before they lay down, the men of the city circled the park, circled the park, the park, the park. Stood before the door, holding the wrapped infant, and I was writing a poem in the alley. A woman came, hovered near, asked for my pen. I gave it up. Consumed in inequity, consumed. Give me a child or I will die, she said. Shrugs away our hands, our mother in the bath, in the garden. The music is not great because, she said, because of the sadness, she said. Primate and psyche, umbrage and rag. It can refer only to itself or to the objects that surround it, lamp, table. It would be absurd to imagine the absent person in the margins of the book. Red couch, red wall behind. The birds are inside the trees now. Now the first one and the second one. Giraffe and guest, honor and hunt. Then she gave up her spirit but couldn't get out. This is a conception fragment. Daylight and tree buds, petro, detritus and dust. What's winged in the open of your pregnancy? Waiting abstracts. Consider the weight of the face, the river at 6 and at 7. Safe and safer in courtyards and carpet, she's semblance of balance, what was her. Said the lipstick and wig, go walk with that chill in your mouth. Go talking on cells and on landlines. Go empty the pan and the pen. Empty at 6 and empty at 7. Bed is at 8 and darkness at 9. Empty at waking and empty at walking. A sheet of shade under that van. A sheet of shade and a buildup of calling. A bigger buildup of cells. Consider the exit 19, its trees till its cables and Applebee's and babies, comes cut in paper, my upper, my intake, I'm often exhausted in stores. What's drifting or drinking when rivers looks oily, the quivery light of the sun? I'm speaking of mouths of chairs, meds, laps of Bibles and plush and bile and bills. Like nothing that comes from the cry in the wall, like nothing that ghosts on the side of my head. A woman who hangs with biblical figures can't speed her departure, her anger still firm. Piled up bedclothes, it looks like they lost one. There's nothing but waiting, there's nothing but waiting, there's nothing but waiting and meals. That's really a nursing home poem. Yeah. Western Wind and Ode. One's mother's brain's like one of those egg sacs that lists by slack waves of seaweed and gull prints, still speaking abundance found washed up to rotting wood of a trap. Trees without leaves and dogs without leashes, simmering wheels of company cars, the body's a hole through which other bodies move. Just read a couple more. Of Sarah. Oh, I should have said Sarah is the first mother for the Jewish people. That's why this book is named for Sarah. That's not my mother's name. Years having passed, the foliage is wet. The final morning on which you in freedom lie awake. I see your entrapment as a fault of my own, my failure to house you in my own face. A girl we know has memorized the witch's song, her serious mouth, unbrushed hair, hiding black eyes. Fillet of a fenny snake in the cauldron, boil and bake, eye of Newton, toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, no pause, no breath, as if forced, as if always, as if gripped. And you, ungripped, having been trained to know less. The training, arduous, lasting for ages, your entire lifetime. First you had to give up the meaning of words, and then water. So. This is Sarah Prosopopeia. Do you say Prosopopeia or Prosopopeia? Somebody tell me. Don't know? Okay. It's okay then. Sarah Prosopopeia. I lost the words for what I most cared about until, uncaring, I fell asleep in a chair and waking walked, one shoe on, one shoe off, holding a hand but whose, seeing out a window but what, and no one could find my other. I'll read two more. This is Grief Abstracts. Flit and click of the clock, rim of my wrist in the sum of the light. By which, trill of bird, answer as might. A word turns in a thought, while a foot's in the literate belly, timed, measured, kissed. Mired in rhyme, I rise and am too, a ruse or a wraith, doubled, I see the hedge of the sky with the edge of my eye, the face of my kind with my mind. The doubled woman is a common thing, nothing more common than this slide of myself from one to two to none. Something to something more to nothing then, and the nothing that my maker becomes contains me as the space does a bit of air, flawlessly and firm. Grief of fire in the final flash and smolder, the weight of her speaks sparks brief ire become ash. Become ruinous food full of dolour. To recall her laughter is to grow older, fears rife in this filial order. If molded, I'm fodder for air and I'm colder. Since I lost her, I stored her like ore in my form, as if later I'd find her, restore her. Slow and ready rising, grief draws simile, slides over for intrusions of likeness. Berry bush, clay beaded wire, bread torn for toddler. Bored grief wards a rose bloom by the door. Gravity suffices as thought. Thoughts grafted or scratched as a plant or a lens. Sad thought, assiduous in its pursuits, beating devotion into the body as a small and forced, wary focus. Last one. Lines to scatter. A perfectly themeless piece of language, fallow in the lap of the wave, was love like a lemon does, silent, self-charged, struck with sun. Buses move by, bass line steadies, the biker's heartbeat secure. Some fly or rat, some untoward creature peeling the wrappers in the rank dark wakes us. Our bet is with the wind, in the wind, of wind, ripped. Without memories, without memory, there's no appearance of now, no way or where for now to emerge, no government, no travel. A dog on the metro, muzzled. And they, destined to shine like the brightness of the firmament, forever